Hey everyone! So this initially was going to be a face cam video, but I look like shit right now, and this is more festive anyway. So I'm still taking my break, which isn't really a break, it's more or less just me taking the time necessary to put together my guide on counter-economics and general tax loopholes. But it's Christmas, and I figured I could give you all a gift as a token of my appreciation for watching my videos and engaging with me. So this year has been a pretty tough one for social media since the state apparently feels that it's necessary to bring about its controlled demolition in an attempt to nationalize the internet. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I've made 5 videos doing just that already. Links to all of them will be located in the description. But long story short, Silicon Valley companies are being subsidized by the state both directly and through front groups for the CIA like in QTUM. They're having their terms of service dictated by regulations from the EU or other countries, and various political think tanks from around the world, such as the Atlantic Council. Then the state and the social media companies are turning around and claiming that the government needs to step in and have the FCC nationalize these social media companies to solve these problems which the state is creating, ensuring that they will never go out of business and that the state will be able to combat the spread of information that opposes their narratives being spread by independent journalists. Like anyone who's actually examined the structure of online social media sites and understands that this is a problem reaction solution con, I've been saying this quite consistently, that the solution here is the decentralization of the internet, network connections, and online platforms through cryptography-based blockchain network connections, mesh network connections, or both. So in response to this growing demand for decentralization and change to how the internet is structured, Filthy Heretic and I organized a project around mid-August, originally referred to as Freedom Network, but later went to be known as FNet because it's short for Freedom Network, and the goal of this project was to create a decentralized network which would allow people to access the internet with only an encrypted mesh network, or the address for a mesh network which was running FNet. This would make spying on the internet and regulation impossible, and this would make ISPs obsolete because you wouldn't need one to have internet connection. So we released an early public build in October, which, despite receiving a few thousand downloads, wasn't necessarily looked upon so fondly. Firstly, it could only be scripted in Linux, because for whatever fucking reason that's what our dev team decided. Other than that, it came with instructions in the file and everything you needed to code your mesh network. But that was the problem. The users who downloaded it needed to script it mostly themselves, and they needed a Linux to run it. So to say that our first release wasn't normie friendly is an understatement. And the other issue is that the devs who joined the project basically only had time for FNet's first build, then had to focus on school or other projects in their life which are more important to them. So, in case you were all wondering what's been going on since around mid-October with the project and why Filthy and myself have been so quiet about it, because we've had a lot of people asking us about that specifically, well, the development process has been in limbo. That's why. So after the dev team who joined the project went on hiatus, we essentially put it on the back burner and have been quietly looking for a new team since then to continue working on the project. And recently, as of about 3 weeks ago, something remarkably interesting occurred. Another development team came to us which has apparently the exact same goals, which were calling themselves Freedom Network as well. But instead of focusing on a network structure, they are focusing on applications. So apps and websites that operate on the internet that are structured in a similar manner to how we created our network. And they wanted to work with us. So long story short, not only is the FNet project active again, but it's also been expanded beyond simply the development of a network structure, but into developing websites which are also decentralized in the same manner, and our development team is larger. And if you can believe it, this isn't even the most interesting part of the revived FNet project. So, the very first thing that the new team started to discuss is exactly how we're going to create this new network and these applications in sync with one another, along with how to make both of them as user-friendly and appealing to the normies as possible. Not going to get into every little minor detail of the story, but essentially, we've created a revolutionary new model, not just for networking online, but the structure of world markets as well. And to clarify, the applications we're focusing on are intended to replace the currently existing social media websites which dominate the internet, so Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, etc. I understand that this is an incredibly bold claim to make, but allow me to explain, and I promise that it's not even a slight exaggeration. As for how to incentivize new users to join, well, the immediate answer was to create a profit reward for publishing content on the social media platforms, which is then distributed by the application whenever someone rates the content put out by the publishers. However, the only way this could work would be if rating content and other key features were locked behind a paywall for the viewers. So this initially seemed like a problem, which would disincentivize people from using these platforms. But one of us came up with an ingenious idea to solve this, which is, for one, to rework the FNet network with a blockchain-based internet connection. Then, from there, create a new cryptocurrency or utilize an already existing cryptocurrency which is designed for large payouts through mining the blocks, and code a crypto mining program into the network script so that whenever you're online with FNet, the FNet is constantly mining this currency into your crypto wallet. Then, have the currency which the network mines be the currency which pays for the features locked behind the paywall. This does several things. One, it creates a direct profit incentive tied to simply making videos, posting pictures, and rating or sharing content on social media, which incentivizes people for more reasons than just privacy and free speech to leave the current mainstream applications, ensuring it explodes pretty much the moment we finish it and launch it, or at least it should. And since the network isn't owned by anyone, and because it's encrypted, this cannot possibly be compromised, so this is something which will always be a part of the applications and can never be changed, nor can anyone be selectively targeted for any reason whatsoever. 2, this creates a direct incentive to not only use FNet, but makes it less practical to use any other form of network access with the applications by making it more expensive and less efficient to interact with content without the crypto generated by the network's mining, ensuring that normal users adapt relatively quickly even if they don't care much for counter economics or the profit that they could obtain. 3, because you will need the currency in order to use the platforms, the currency will always have a high demand because people will need it in order to interact, which ensures a relatively steady purchasing power and high value. Yes, to clarify, this is an actual cryptocurrency, not any sort of utility token. Whatever currency FNet adapts will have a wallet, which means you'll be able to trade with it outside of the applications as well. And given that it'll have an almost universal value due to how it's needed in order to use social media, most places should accept it. And 4, because a percentage of what you're mining will be redistributed upon an action and circled around the network along with the applications, this can not only be used to pay publishers of content, but a percentage of the GPU's processing power can be stimulated by extra code obtained by recycling the currency back into the network. So this will also mean that FNet will have a ridiculously fast internet connection speed. So in other words, we just injected the original FNet project with a fuck ton of steroids. FNet is not only decentralizing the way in which people connect to the internet, but we're also creating decentralized websites, and we unwittingly designed a practical, incredibly profitable, and stable framework for generating personal wealth, having the internet speeds increase, and creating a framework for a stable crypto market by finding a way to stimulate its demand to where it's universally valued. So anyway, Merry Christmas everyone! A link to the FNet Discord will be located in the description, and updates to the project will be released there, along with on both Filthy Heretic and my social media pages. Thank you all for watching, and I will wish you all a Happy New Year.